Hello, everyone. I'm Fozzie or Cam, and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. Will, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Cam. It's weird not to have a Warriors playoff series to talk about with you. I know I always wear Warriors hats on this podcast. It's weird to not have a Warriors playoff series to talk about with you, but I'm doing good. And how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and another year, another Celtics playoff run. Feeling
Yeah,
good here in
yeah.
Boston, but I can feel your pain up in the Golden State. Um, but we'll get to the playoffs towards the end of the podcast today because we have a loaded schedule today.
Certainly.
Um, so that's what happens when we miss a week. We end up having a crazy schedule of things to talk about. We got the Deadpool trailer, which was ridiculously awesome. Oh my god. Then we had the Taylor Swift album that took the world by storm, broke records. The Oscars. We still haven't talked about the Oscars. Um, then we have the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, or whatever, the Spider-Verse short that dropped. The Acolyte trailer, which we still haven't talked about. The Jason Bourne 5, or, I guess they're not rumors, right? It's pretty much confirmed. It is confirmed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Matt. I mean, like Matt Damon was on Stephen Colbert show recently, and he talked about it. So that
Yeah.
basically confirms it for you right there.
Okay. So yeah, that's confirmed, and then we'll finish the episode off with talking about the NBA playoffs. So, Will, home
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Wow, what a trailer! Barely gave us any new plot details. It gave us everything we kind of need to know to kind of get a feel of what the story's gonna be like, what the movie's gonna be like, the tone. This trailer dove deeper into Wolverine because the director Sean Levy and I believe Ryan Reynolds have both stated this is just as much of a Wolverine movie as it is a Deadpool movie, which is wild. Um, because Wolverine isn't even really a thing anymore. Wolverine died. I mean, it's wild. Coming here seeing that it's basically also just a Wolverine movie. So excited hearing that and watching this trailer. This is what all Marvel trailers should strive to be. Marvel usually has good trailers, but from time to time they'll give stuff away that we don't exactly want to be given away. This didn't. This I don't know what's going to happen. We didn't give away any cameos like the Multiverse of Madness trailer did. I mean, I think Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy and Hugh Jackman are gonna pull this one off. It looks fantastic. The action, the comedy, the dynamic between Logan and Wade looks phenomenal. The returning characters, well, I mean, especially Blind Al, look hilarious as always. I want to see more Colossus in the movie because in the trailers we haven't seen a lot of Colossus, and if you'll recall, he's a big part of the first two Deadpool movies. So it'd be weird if he's not in this movie a whole lot, but we'll see, because, like I said, it didn't give away a whole lot of plot details or whatever. And everyone was happy because the Wolverine's sleeves were off. Believe it or not, Will, it was a huge thing online. Everyone was complaining because in the action scenes, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine had sleeves on. I guess that riled people up a lot, and it ended up being because I believe Hugh Jackman actually has a skin condition, so I don't see why people would ever be mad about that, but that's the Marvel community sometimes. But Will, what were your thoughts on the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer?
Yeah, so I'm kind of gonna. I said this after the first trailer. By the way, the first trailer broke Spider-Man: No Way Home's record
Yeah.
for the most viewed trailer in 24 hours. So that just tells you something about the fandom of both Deadpool and Wolverine and those two characters. So the first trailer, I said that from just going in fresh, it kind of reminded me of my same issues with the comedy in the Ant-Man and the Wasp films, but I also said that I withheld any true judgment until I actually saw the Deadpool movies. And that's my same take here with this second trailer. I still don't have interest as of yet, but I'm open to that changing. So my opinion is basically exactly the same as the first trailer.
Wow, I've said it before in this podcast. I am so excited for you to watch Deadpool 1 and 2 and just see your reaction. Because based off what I'm hearing now, it could go both ways. You could either love it and think it's hilarious, or you could be annoyed by the comedy.
We'll see.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Um, but for me, I'm actually probably going to end up watching every single X-Men movie made.
How
Um,
many
bec-
have you seen?
I've seen the first three as of now, and the second second one's okay. I believe the third one's Last Stand is the official title, it's okay. I mean, it was supposed to be the big conclusion to the trilogy, even though it wasn't. Um, it was fine. I thought the first two were both really good. Third, and we also have to take into account when you watch these movies that these are early comic book movies, so they're obviously gonna have some comic book tropes that we're so familiar with seeing now, but at the time of release, we weren't familiar with them
Right.
because they were inventing those things, you know? Um, I think they actually have a lot darker tone than it should. I think it should be more fun. And I was looking at an article today that was saying the director of the first movie, at least, didn't allow any comic books on the set because he was quote embarrassed by them and embarrassed by the source material, and that's why they didn't wear the comic book accurate outfits or whatever. Which I thought was weird. I mean, look how much people are loving it now with Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, but whatever. The movies came out years ago and they were successful, so I guess it worked. But yeah, check them out if you want. I feel like they're probably not completely necessary to watch, but I know there are going to be some side characters with small roles that are from past X-Men movies, and I want to be familiar with them going into Deadpool and Wolverine. But speaking of Deadpool, we have there's a rumor going around that Taylor Swift is going to be in the movie. As Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds' wife, is really good friends with Taylor Swift, and Ryan Reynolds is also friends with her. They watched the Super Bowl together. Yeah, they're good friends. They have pictures together. That's been stated before, so people are pretty heavy on the fact that Taylor Swift could be in Deadpool 3, which, I mean, that would just confirm that it will make $1 billion. I mean, the Swifties will go see it no matter what. And now that we're on the topic of Taylor Swift, she just released a new album, The Tortured Poets Department. And then at 2 a.m., she dropped like, I don't know, 15 more songs. Insane. Broke a bunch of records before the album even came out. And then broke even more episodes when it did come out. So, yeah. I thought this album, I thought at least, how do I put this? I thought the deluxe version that she released at 2 a.m., that was too much. That's just too much music. I don't think there should ever be an album that has 31 songs. And it, it's just mixed for me. I think it's a good album. I don't think it's as good as Midnight's. I don't think it's one of her best albums. But there are some songs I really enjoy. I enjoy Florence and the Machine's feature on the record on the song Florida. I thought that was awesome. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10. No, definitely not her best record, but not her worst. It was a solid listen. Did you listen to any songs after Will?
I've listened to it a little bit. The person whose name we don't mention on the podcast anymore for reasons that we addressed in the last episode. He's had it on around the house a bit, so I've listened to it a little bit. Taylor Swift. I would say most of her studio recordings of her songs overall, I don't think are quite my style. So I don't think this album is going to be one that I'm going to get super into. Although I will say, I did watch her performing her mega hit song "All Too Well"
Oh,
solo piano. That song gets me every time.
I was listening to it last night. The 10-minute version was such a great song.
My gosh, that song just gets me every time.
Yeah, phenomenal song. And if you guys, if our viewers watch SNL, then they'll know Ryan
Oh,
Gosling recently
phenomenal.
parodied All Too Well
Phenomenal.
on SNL. It was
Phenomenal.
hilarious. Yeah, I love Ryan Gosling. He's such a funny guy.
Such a
And
funny guy.
he has a movie coming out
Fall
later.
Guy.
Yeah, The Fall Guy looks awesome. I mean,
89% on Rotten Tomatoes, if I
yeah,
remember
that's
correctly.
from what I think South by Southwest it premiered at, which is a film festival for those who don't know, which is great to hear, because I love David Leitch, the director. He directed, I think it was Deadpool 2. I believe
Ah,
he was involved in John Wick, and he directed the movie Bullet Train that came out in 2022, which if I may have to do this on Letterboxd, but um, if I had to rank my movies that came out in 2022, Bullet Train would be really high up. I'm gonna rewatch it soon. I just put myself back onto Bullet Train. It's such a good movie. I don't think about it much, but now talking about it, I'm remembering. Yeah, Bullet Train's phenomenal. He directed that, and if this is anything like Bullet Train, I'm sure it'll be good. Did you see Bullet Train, Will?
uh, I, uh, I, I didn't, but like, now here's my question. Like, obviously you liked it, but were the reviews good for it as well?
The reviews they were lower than I expected them to
Okay.
be. But I mean, you can like look up like people talking about it on YouTube and stuff, and at least the ones I watched from reviewers like Chris Stuckman, who's one of my favorite movie reviewers on YouTube. He enjoyed it. He reviewed it right when it came out, and he enjoyed it. And I'm not sure how exactly it got low reviews. I mean, I thought it was good. It's sitting at currently a 54 on the critics scale on Rotten Tomatoes, which
Wow.
I think is criminally low, actually, because I thought it was phenomenal. I think it's on Netflix right now, but you know what it reminds me of, Will?
What's that?
It reminds me of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Hmm.
Because you just got that dialogue that bounces back and forth. The
Right.
time jumps. It's a hilarious movie. The action scenes are awesome. Brad Pitt's such a good actor. And currently on IMDb, the IMDb score is higher. It's sitting at a 7.3 on IMDb. And if you're familiar with how IMDb works for our viewers, um, then you'll know that that's actually pretty decent score for IMDb. I feel like 7 and up is good for IMDb. Then like the sixes is and then below sixes it kind of hits like the bad movie range. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy Bullet Train. I mean it's a little long, I guess. It's a longer movie, but I feel like it doesn't drag on or anything. But yeah, if you get the chance, I definitely recommend checking that out. I feel like you would like it. The fight scenes are fantastic, and you'd like the dialogue because it's not just action the whole time. You know.
And also, obviously we don't have it on this episode, but on one of our future episodes, we should discuss maybe that Quentin Tarantino's movie. I believe it
Oh
was going to be called The Movie Critic is no more. Maybe
yeah,
that should be one of our our
yeah. We
our
can go
our
through it
future
now.
episodes. Okay, sure,
Yeah,
sure.
why
I
not?
mean, I didn't read into all the details about it. So, what are the exact reasons that this movie is no more?
I believe it was because he wasn't satisfied with the script. I
Okay.
mean, it makes sense. I mean, that sounds like a valid reason to me
I
for
mean, he is certainly known for amazing writing and dialogue in his film. So if that wasn't up to par, then I can understand why he would scrap the movie.
yeah. I mean, he said in the past that he trusts himself as a writer. He trusts in his process, and he never tries to make anything out too soon. And if he does, he realizes that and he'll put it back. He himself has said that in the past. That was 2016 where he said that. And I mean, that's what he's doing now. He he wasn't satisfied with the script, and so here he is. He's not going to release the movie. I think that right there is the right thing to do. He wasn't satisfied with it, so I think
Yeah.
we're just gonna get a better movie at the end of the day. I think it's gonna be helpful. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait like a year or two more. I don't care. It's still gonna be a good movie, and it's not like it was gonna release anytime soon anyway. I mean, and in the meantime, I believe we're gonna get the TV show he's been working on. So we'll have Quentin Tarantino content there. So people are all upset about this. I honestly, I mean, I'm not saying like to try to dismiss this or anything, but I really, I couldn't care less. I feel like it doesn't affect it, and it's just gonna make the movie better. He's gonna make a better movie. I just don't get why people are so up in arms about someone who's trying to improve their film for the audience. But I don't know. We'll see as it goes on, and I'm super excited for the TV show. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I haven't, but I know that's one of his most famous ones.
Yeah. So there's a show inside of the movie called Bounty Law, and I believe, or it's rumored at least, that the show he's developing will be Bounty Law,
Oh
which is
wow.
really cool.
And what are
Um,
your thoughts on the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
it's actually one of my favorite Tarantino movies. It's really high up there, probably top three. It's up there with let's see. I think I have Django at one, Django Unchained at number one,
Okay.
and then at number two I have Pulp Fiction, because I mean it's Pulp Fiction, it's a classic. And then number three, I think probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really enjoy that movie. Um,
Where do you rank him as a director? Would you say he's like top five, one of your faves, or like top 10 or lower? Where would you put
I'd
him?
probably put him in my top 10. I feel like people talk about like, oh, Tarantino is the best writer, best director of all time. I mean, yeah, he's one of the best directors of all time. But I just feel like he gets overhyped too much, and it kind of impacts my enjoyment of his films. Because there are a lot of snobby film fans out there, um, who like, I only watch Tarantino films, and that just makes me mad. Maybe that makes me a worse person, but it just annoys me. But I mean, I can definitely respect what he's doing, and of course I love a lot of his movies. Um, but yeah, we're still on the topic of really good movies. We got the Oscars to talk about. Lily Gladstone was robbed of best actress in a leading role. What? I mean, I haven't seen Poor Things, but I assume she was robbed. Um, I really thought she was gonna win. Will I really really thought she was gonna win. Do you think she would have had a better shot if she went for a supporting actress?
Uh, maybe,
Because
maybe
she
because
wasn't the main character.
yeah, I would say. By the way, this is what stood out to me. Leonardo DiCaprio did not get nominated for anything, and Matt Damon didn't get nominated
Yeah, weird.
for anything. And those two are two of my all-time favorite actors. I would put those two in my top five. I love both of them. So to
Yeah.
see neither of them get nominated was quite surprising to me. But to answer your Lily Gladstone question, would she have had a better chance if it was best supporting actor? I think you're on to something there because I actually feel like best supporting actor would have been the better category to nominate her for because I would say that DiCaprio is the main character and she's kind of second to him. So I think you're on to something there. I think she could have had a better chance if she was nominated for best supporting actor. What do you think?
I think so. I think it was just too competitive because, as we know, Emma Stone is a phenomenal actress. She's like one of, if not the best actress in Hollywood right now. That part of this whole, not like of all time. I'm saying actresses working right now who are making movies. Popular actresses. Yeah, she's up there. She's already won an Oscar for La La Land, and I think that kind of put her ahead of Lily Gladstone. Um, she's also just she's a more well known actress. I think that contributed to it. I think, yeah, she also gave a good performance too. I mean, I think all of those factors contributed to it. But I do think she'd have a better shot if she went for supporting actress. But that would mean Divine Joy Randolph would probably end up getting a loss, which is unfair because she also had a great performance. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation, but I am still happy for Emma Stone because, I mean, she's a great actress, but she already won an Oscar, and that just kind of feels weird that they won't give it to Lily Gladstone. And yeah, did you happen to see footage of Emma Stone's face when she got awarded the?
I didn't know what was it. What was
She
it
didn't.
like?
She didn't look thrilled because I know her and Lily Gladstone had actually became good friends over this whole Oscar promotion tour that all of their movies are doing, and so she was probably rooting for Lily Gladstone. And was probably like kind of stunned when she won. But I'm sure she deserves it. I have to watch Poor Things at some point because I heard how awesome it was. Um, but there were other awesome moments in the Oscars, like Ryan Gosling again doing
Again.
something hilarious, performing "I'm Just Ken." Iconic performance. Slash comes out with the guitar. Oh my goodness. He lets Greta Gerwig sing on the mic at the Oscars. He lets Margot Robbie sing at the mic on the Oscars. Lets Emma Stone sing. It's awesome. I mean, he holds the cameraman's hand as he walks up to the stage, and then gives him a kiss after. It was just perfect. I mean, I think the Oscars are making a real comeback after the the whole slap thing, which is still so baffling to me. How did that happen? um, but yeah, glad to see the Oscars are back on track. Did you have any disappointments in the Oscars other than the Lily Gladstone thing?
No, I didn't really have any disappointments. I mean, The Holdovers was my personal favorite of the movies that got nominated for Best Picture. So while I wanted that to win Best Picture, I didn't expect it to.
Yeah,
I expected Oppenheimer to win because that's just um uh what had been happening before. So would I have picked Oppenheimer over The Holdovers or Killers of the Flower Moon? Pers- Personally, no, but I wasn't disappointed just because it was very clear that that's what was going to win Best Picture. So I expected that. And look, going to the people who won awards from the movies I've seen, Divine Joy Randolph, I got no problem with that. Killian Murphy, I got no problem with uh, that. Robert Downey Jr., I'm so happy for him. What a redemption story.
yeah,
What a way to kick off what I hope is this whole other career post Marvel. I'm so happy for Robert Downey Jr. and Christopher Nolan. Even though I would have wanted to, even though I would have put Martin Scorsese or I believe it was Alexander Payne who directed the Holdovers,
yeah,
even though I would have picked one of those two over Christopher Nolan for Best Director, I wasn't disappointed because again, it was very clear that it was going to go in that direction. And whichever movie wins Best Picture, it makes very much common sense that
yeah.
that the director of that film would also win. So no, I didn't have any disappointments at all, really. And I thought Jimmy Kimmel made a great point about what
Yeah.
did this year's Oscars so well was that, people actually saw Oppenheimer. People actually saw Barbie. There was the whole Barbenheimer thing. So I thought Jimmy Kimmel made a great point when he said, people actually saw, the movies that got
Yeah.
nominated this year. So I thought this year's Oscars was really good, even though Jimmy Kimmel didn't say anything that made me laugh out loud. I still thought that he did a good job as host. So yeah, I really liked the Oscars this year, and it was so entertaining that we even got a cameo from Mr. Donald Trump. Donald Trump made an
Yeah.
appearance. at the Oscars this year.
Yeah. I also wanted to briefly mention that Wes Anderson,
Yes, true. Yes.
he won and he didn't show up. I think that was the coolest thing he could have possibly done.
Classic Wes
Oh,
Anderson.
that's
Just
awesome.
classic Wes Anderson.
Oh, he just didn't show up for his own
And I
Oscar.
thought
Oh,
Jimmy Kimmel made a really good joke about why he didn't show up.
what'd he say?
I forget exactly what he said, but it was like he was like, maybe he's off in one of the worlds that he created, or something like that. He was basically saying, like maybe he's off in one of his movie universes that he's created for himself. It was something like that. But I remember thinking that Jimmy Kimmel made a good joke when he won, and then didn't show up.
Yeah. And one more thing is that what was shocking to me?
What's that?
This was Christopher Nolan's first Oscar win. How?
That
He's
is
made so
surprising,
many
actually.
classics.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight,
Oh yeah, that
Interstellar.
is surprising.
There's so many classics under his
Although
belt.
allow me to say this, Cam. Bill Murray has never won Best Actor. If Bill Murray has never won Best Actor, then what's really surprising after that?
Yeah.
Bill Murray has never won Best Actor. I mean, wow.
But I feel like Bill Murray's in movies that wouldn't typically get nominated
Right.
for
No,
Oscars.
that's a fair
That's kind
point.
of the
That's a
thing.
fair point.
Like, I mean, he has an iconic performance in Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters would never get nominated for an
Right.
Oscar.
No, that's a very fair point.
Yeah, but that's not discounting him as an actor, though. He's still a fantastic actor. Everyone can acknowledge that. I'm sure the Academy can acknowledge that. And you know what I'm sure will happen eventually? He might get one of those honorary Oscars, like Angela Bassett did, which would be awesome to see.
What is the honorary Oscar exactly for? Like, what's that about? Exactly.
I think it's just people who deserve Oscars but haven't just kind of like I don't know, character actors almost who are just good in everything, give solid performances every movie they're in, but just they're never the main focus. I feel like that's kind of like what Angela Bassett is, because she's not the main character in Wakanda Forever, but she's awesome in it. But she's not the thing that everyone talks about, you know. But moving on from the Oscars, briefly I wanted to touch on the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse short that dropped. I was happy with it. I mean, it was a short. I thought the animation, as always, was cool. I thought the whole idea behind it was awesome. Him dealing with the pressure of being Spider-Man. Definitely a cool idea. But, I mean, it was just, it's short. You can't really get a huge impression out of it. It doesn't really expand on the Spider-Verse world a whole lot, but for what it was and the story it was telling, I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I really want to applaud them for, because at first when I heard they were doing the short, I was like, what would they do? What would they do the short for? And if I watched, the short with no background knowledge, I would just kind of be like, that was fine, but nothing special. And while I still think it's nothing special, once I read into it more, I understood, no. This was an entire project around mental health. And I think they teamed with Kevin Love's mental health foundation and some other mental health foundations out there. So, even though the short is not something I will go back to and watch thousands of times.
Yeah.
When I found out what the purpose of making the short was and the whole mental health project that they were doing behind that, I was just like, that is so great, props and right on, because obviously mental health is something that a lot of people deal with. So the fact that that was the main purpose behind why this short was made, I just thought that was so awesome, and just props to them for that, because that's just fantastic.
Definitely. Right now, I just wanted to transition from that. Definitely an awesome message there. Yeah, that's just awesome that they can do that. That something as popular as Spider-Man can actually promote mental health, which is such a cool thing. And I feel like if any movie were to do that, it would be a Spider-Verse movie. Um, and now moving on from that briefly, the NBA playoffs, my Celtics are doing phenomenal. And what is the score of the Celtics game right now? Let's see. Will, what are your thoughts on the NBA playoffs as of now?
My thoughts on the NBA playoffs
Oh boy.
is that I think it's gonna be a Denver-Boston NBA Finals this year.
I
If
would
you,
be happy to see that. Although
if
we
you,
are currently losing 27-23. 53
well,
seconds left in the first quarter.
that's the Miami Heat for you right there. Because even though I think the Celtics are gonna win this series, if there's one team you never want to face in the postseason, it would be the Heat, because they just always find a way to stay in games even when you don't want them to. So
I don't know
I
how they're
got
going to
so
stay in
much.
this one without Jimmy Butler.
True, but still, even though I don't think the Heat are winning this series, I have so much respect for them, and I still view them as that team that you do not want to face. But
Yeah.
ultimately, my thoughts on the postseason so far, even though I'm super impressed with how Minnesota has played so far, going up 2-0, and Cleveland has played going up 2-0, and the Knicks have played going up 2-0. Although I know the NBA said that there were a couple fouls involving Tyrese Maxey that they should have called. So I guess the NBA made a mistake there. And by the way, props to Tyrese Maxey. He won most improved player. Props to him for that. James Harden leaves in the summer. He steps in, clearly establishes himself as a number 2 option, proves that they don't need James Harden to succeed. So props to Tyrese Maxey for most improved player. Totally deserving there. But my take on the playoffs so far, Cam, is that while there are teams besides Denver and Boston that I'm impressed with, I just think it's going to be a Denver-Boston NBA Finals this season, because I think this to me seems like the best team of the Tatum Brown era. The Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday additions have really taken them to another level that even the great Marcus Smart couldn't take them to. So I think we are watching the best team of the Tatum Brown era, and I think the Celtics play such a team-first, unselfish style of basketball. And then in Denver's case, Cam, to me, they have a guy who is operating on a level unto himself. Nikola Jokic is one of the most dominant forces I have ever seen. It's like he is having a cakewalk out there. That's how easy he makes it look. Obviously, it's not that easy, but he makes it look that way. So I think it's going to be a Boston-Denver Finals this year, because Boston, the Porzingis and Drew Holiday additions have seemingly taken them to another level. And in Denver's case, they have a guy who, to me, is operating on a level unto himself.
Yeah, and briefly before we take our break here, I just wanted to go over something that we haven't talked about yet. The 2024 Team USA lineup is ridiculous, Will.
Fact.
LeBron James,
Well, they lost
Kevin
in the
Durant.
FIBA World. Yeah, I mean, they lost in the FIBA World Cup last summer, so they obviously knew that they had to step it up and bring a lot of star power. Look, the rest of the world is better than it was before, so you need a really stacked team if you're Team USA. But boy, did they got that
they got it.
They assembled exactly the team that they.
It's like the NBA Avengers.
Exactly the team that they needed.
It's ridiculous. I cannot wait to watch the Team USA games this summer. So now I'd like to move on to the new Star Wars show, which is coming out soon, called The Acolyte. A lot of hate online about it.
Really?
I don't know why, but yep, these Star Wars fans, they're real riled up. There's a female lead, so you know they're gonna be mad. Just so annoying.
Allow me to say this, Cam. If you're hating on a product because of a female lead, you better check yourself.
Yeah.
Get out of here. This is 2024. We're still going to be sexist like that?
Ridiculous.
Get out of here. Give me a break. Come on.
But I think it looks really good.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got like a whole lot of Jedi stuff really, aside from Ahsoka, which kind of didn't. I guess it felt yeah, no, it did focus on Jedi stuff, but I think that it wasn't solely about the Jedi and the Sith. This is, and that's gonna be so cool to see, because we haven't like aside from Ahsoka, we haven't gotten a real lightsaber fight since the sequel since 2019.
I mean,
Um,
in Obi-Wan
oh yeah, that's right, Obi Wan. I'm
Kenobi,
forgetting about Obi
we
Wan.
got
Yeah,
some,
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it, probably because it was so forgettable. Um,
You actually hate that show, don't you?
I don't hate it. I just don't think it's a very good show. I think
Okay,
Ahsoka is miles better than Kenobi.
okay.
Um, but yeah, Acolyte looks fantastic. I love the Sith. I think they're the most interesting part of Star Wars. So it's cool we're diving deep on that. It's kind of like the Old Republic, but it's towards the end of that, and it's closer to the Phantom Menace era, which is super cool. It's kind of showing how this whole thing's gonna collapse, and then it's gonna ultimately lead, obviously, to Order 66, and the Clone Wars. So yeah, I think this is the Phantom Menace before Phantom Menace. You know what I mean? This kind of kickstarts the whole thing. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. The action looks awesome. The lightsaber stuff looks great. And I don't know if this is just me, but lightsabers look weird now. Have you noticed that? They just look. It doesn't look like that in the sequels. It
What
started.
specifically looks weird about it to for you?
It looks like an LED stick. There's no like
Oh,
text.
okay,
There's no
okay.
like texture there. You know,
Right, right.
you could like feel the impact. Um, in like even the sequels, you could kind of see it. I think it could be the fact that they're I don't see how this would affect it, but have you heard about the volume that
Oh
they
yeah.
shoot on?
Oh yeah.
That could be part of it, and I don't really know, but they just look too clean. You know.
Okay. Yeah, uh-huh.
I mean, if I mean, yeah, it started in Kenobi. It just looks like they're holding like LED lights, and it's weird. And it doesn't look like they're changing it up much in this show. But I mean, we only saw trailer footage, so they still have time if they really want to change it before the show comes out. But that's a little nitpick I have. It's not really a big deal. And then our final topic of the day here is Jason Bourne 5, which my opinion on the Jason Bourne movies has gone up and down over the years. It annoys me because the movies are inconsistent. I mean, I'm a fan of 2016's Jason Bourne, but then you have that weird Jeremy Renner movie in the mix, and I also am not a huge fan of the action scenes in Jason Bourne, but I can appreciate the high intensity. So I go back and forth liking and not loving the Jason Bourne movies. But the story, I'm a huge fan of. The whole idea of Jason Bourne not having any memory is super cool. And I'm glad they're going to expand on it in a fifth movie. And hopefully people like this one. Because, I mean, like I said, I liked Jason Bourne in 2016. I think it's a solid movie. But people didn't love it. So hopefully Jason Bourne 5 isn't anything like that. But are you excited for this, Will?
So I want to preface my comments by saying I've only seen the original three. I didn't see the Jeremy Renner one or the 2016 one because the reviews weren't nearly as good as the first three. But I would like to say that I think the original three Jason Bourne films are all good. I think they did a good job with them all. I think Jason Bourne is a compelling character. I think Matt Damon does a good job as always in that role. So I like all three of the original Jason Bourne films. But as somebody like I haven't seen the Jeremy Renner one or the 2016 one, and my thought I mean, I know that Matt Damon said that the director of this new film is the director who I guess directed. I think it was the movie All Quiet on the Western Front from like 2022, which Matt
That was
Damon
Oscars. That was big in the Oscars.
said was a great film. So I'm happy that it's a director who has a good reputation. And I don't think Matt Damon would be agreeing to do this movie if he didn't think that the story
For
and
sure.
the idea
He's not
and
that
the
type of
plot,
actor.
were good. But my personal take is, and this is my same thing with Top Gun 3, they gotta prove it to me, because the Bourne Ultimatum, which came out either, I think, around like 2007, the final movie of the original three Bourne films, I thought that wrapped a lot of storylines up. I felt complete after that one. I didn't feel like I needed more. I didn't feel like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I need to know more about Jason Bourne after this movie. So I hope it'll end up being good, but they got to prove it to me. But they got to prove it to me, because right now I'm just not like dying to know more things about Jason Bourne. So just like with Top Gun 3, they've got to prove it to me on this one, because right now I don't really see any need to do another Jason Bourne movie.
Well, also, like Top Gun 3, I don't think Matt Damon, being such a legendary actor, would be in this movie, just like Tom Cruise and Top Gun 3. They just wouldn't be in a movie if they thought it was bad. They're not the type of cash grab actor. They don't need to do that. They're like up there Hollywood royalty, you know? So they wouldn't even need to do that. So I think, I mean, that being said, people didn't like Jason Bourne 2016, so that, yeah, I guess Matt Damon has put out some worse movies, but Tom Cruise hasn't, but that's kind of different. But yeah, we'll see. And I think the response of 2016 Jason Bourne will kind of help shape how this movie goes. But yeah, that just about wraps up this episode of the Everything Podcast. I had so much fun in this episode. I cannot wait for Deadpool 3. Like I said, I can't wait for you to watch Deadpool movies. It's probably my most anticipated moment on the podcast right now, just behind our LaFlo Franco interview coming soon. I've been in contact with him recently. Still excited. Hasn't forgot about us. Yeah, he's finishing up his tour now. Follow him on Instagram because he posts videos on going on tour. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. He's been posting his concerts there. He's a great performer. Got out of Mighty Musical early this year, but I still think it was a great song. Level Up was fantastic. So yeah, excited for that. And also anticipate Everything Week coming back in June. So excited for that.
And COVID will not get in the way.
It better not.
This time. COVID you will not get in the way this time.
Yeah, Cam Freights is going to Napa, California. It's gonna be an awesome little collaboration in person.
Super excited.
Yeah, live action podcast episodes. We're gonna do a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited for that as much as we are. And thank you guys so much for watching this episode of the Everything Podcast. We'll see you next time.